Welcome to the deck. And I think
We're
we
the dick
failed.
and it's a dick.
It failed to go to.
BB3 again.
No,
There's only 3 of them up there.
yeah, it should have been 4.
Yeah, what's the 4th one that's missing?
Things Network page.
Things page this time?
Yeah,
That's weird.
yeah, it was set to go up there. There was 4 of them when I started it.
I'm gonna annoy you now.
Oh yeah, what are you gonna annoy me with? Oh, now you got to start that after we're live.
That's the fun part. Do that after we're live.
So, did you come up with a topic? I don't know if we're gonna have anybody join us. Nick should join us at least once for the first time. He didn't have that Lois's show to do. It was canceled today.
Well, yeah, he should pop on and join us then.
Even if it's for a little while. Oh. And I haven't heard from anybody else. So, but we can start out with a topic I have for tomorrow, and who knows what
You
rabbit
wanna use that topic and burn it?
who knows what rabbit holes we might crawl down and have to continue on it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But unless somebody else pops in.
I'll tell you right now, I don't know if I can trust that.
Trust what?
What you're talking.
Oh, the Jurassic Park theory.
Yeah.
I mean, they took and they used a gray wolf embryo or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
and scientifically altered the DNA, kind of like they did in Jurassic Park. They used, what was it, ostrich eggs or something, and
Yeah. They used
and
ostrich
in, and in that though, they
and they
what
used frog DNA to be
right? They
the
used
filler
amphibian DNA, but in that they also denied it the chromosomes so that they made them all female on Jurassic Park.
but yet
But yeah,
nature finds a way.
right. And that's just it. I mean, Jeff Goldblum's character, what he said holds true in the real world, in that
Mhm.
movie.
It
Nature
does.
finds a way. It always finds a way to survive.
Well, look
The,
at it this way. Now, think about this, okay? And they actually said this in the movie.
mm-hmm,
They used amphibian DNA,
right.
okay? And it has been scientifically proven that some frogs, they use basically frog DNA, but it's been scientifically proven that some frogs, when isolated and being of one sex, will actually spontaneously change sexes to continue with the natural way of everything. And it's actually been proven. Okay, this is weird. I have nothing strange open. I have this CNN feed about your dire wolves. I've
Yeah.
got I've got Opera running for my Emux. On my other browser, I have Facebook and just a regular anime site. and I keep getting these alerts from AVG telling me that there was a possible tracking blocker or block. Possible tracking has been blocked and stuff like that. And none of that came up earlier when I was doing my anime stuff until I brought this emotes in. So I'm wondering if it's if that could be part of my freaking problem originally in the first place.
Could be.
Is that AVG doesn't like emotes and sees it as a threat program.
Well, ever since that, I started seeing those things about the dire wolves. I've also seen these articles like this one here: 15 dog breeds that rival the strength of wolves. 15 dog breeds that are the closest related to the wolf. You know, those kind of things. And then, of course, but anyway,
The husky and the Malamute; those are definitely related to
well,
the wolf.
yeah, the Siberian Husky is number
But
one on the Siberian
ones that are
Husky is number
stronger,
one on those lists.
the ones that would be stronger than the wolves are basically the mastiffs.
Yeah, those are some extremely large dogs. I saw one where there was a full adult sized woman, average probably about 6 foot, and she's by this one dog, and I swear to God, the head was bigger than half her body.
I believe it.
It was an Italian. I think it might have been one of those Mastiffs or whatever the fuck they're called.
European Mastiff.
Yeah, but this was an Italian one. It said that's what the breed said. But anyway, they between my research before they started this experiment bringing back the dire wolf and stuff, from what I could tell, the dire wolf wasn't much bigger than the gray wolf. They're saying it is much bigger. But the more dangerous thing is that particular wolf was more aggressive, and its jaw, the strength of its jaw is so its bite strength
Mm-hmm.
was almost 10 times greater than the gray wolf.
It had a better bite strength.
Yeah. So
So here you have an animal that became extinct. That has
supposedly.
hang on. That is stronger than the gray wolf. Has a stronger bite than the gray wolf, and it's supposed to be bigger than a gray wolf, and it's more aggressive and more dangerous than a gray wolf, and yet they brought it back.
Mhm.
I can see disaster happening.
Damn it. Not to mention the effects that if they bring back a whole pack, what it would do to the ecosystem.
Well, yeah, because the ecosystem's already adjusted itself for the extinction of them. And now
But
also, you're also looking at something else too.
but it
No,
so baffles me though.
it's not just the dire wolf. We also have making a comeback. You also have the Tasmanian tiger.
Yeah, but see, though, the thing is,
That's a creature that never actually went extinct.
exactly. It's like, how do they know? Just because they haven't seen one in thousands of years.
It hasn't been thousands of years, Joe. The last
For
one
the
died
dire
in
wolf,
19. Oh, the dire wolf. I don't know.
you know,
But the
That's thousands of
Tasmanian
years.
tiger,
1933, the last one died in captivity,
yeah,
supposedly, in a zoo.
right, and that was in
And the
Australia,
thing is, they've already found it. It's been coming back on its own.
right? Because there was a couple of them that were in the wild that they, that evaded everybody.
Right. And I mean, how do they? That's what I'm trying to say is how do they know some of these animals went extinct?
Well, they don't know; they speculate.
And yeah,
And the
speculation.
reason they speculate is because they don't see them physically in the wild. And they set up camera traps and they still don't catch them in the wild in their known habitats. Therefore, since they do not catch them in the wild on their known habitats with the camera trap and they don't see them physically there, that's how they start determining and saying, well, they must be extinct.
Yeah, and thing is, with people and stuff like that, taking up more and more space, the wolf's habitat, they have to push somewhere else, go somewhere else, so it ain't
Okay, here's one for you. Titanoboa.
a what?
Titanoboa. They're saying that the Titanoboa is extinct, correct?
Yeah.
But yet they found evidence that there is a breakoff species of the Titanoboa living in the swamps of Florida and um, Louisiana. So therefore, and it's not quite as big as the Titanoboa, but it's huge. Potential of getting upwards of I think 100 feet long or something like that.
Yeah, which is a scary thought.
Longer than a fucking school bus.
Yeah, and I mean they're already pretty large. I mean, people, you get a pet for a snake for a pet. You don't realize, they keep growing. Usually to whatever size of
Nope, nope. A snake is not like an aquatic fish.
no.
A snake will outgrow its environment.
But still, they keep growing, and they get too large, and people release them into the wild.
Yeah, they get too big for the
And
people to
here
handle,
in
and
the
they
wild,
release them.
you may have been feeding them, just feeding them mice because it was an easy thing to get from the pet store, right?
Uh-huh.
Now you release them in the wild because they get too big, and they've got a whole, they're going to grow a lot bigger because they're going to, you know,
They've got
feed,
larger prey.
feed more frequently and on larger prey.
They got larger prey. Now, boas and pythons, their primary prey is rats, mice, squirrels, sometimes birds.
Small mammals, yeah.
Now, when you got these that are being discovered down in the swamps of Louisiana and Florida, these fuckers are feeding on gar, they're feeding on sturgeon, they're feeding on fucking alligators.
Yeah.
Now, here you've got a critter that's grown big enough to take on an alligator. You really want to fuck with that thing?
Nope. I mean, you know, I wouldn't even want to live down in that area because of the snakes.
Yeah.
I saw a couple episodes. I don't know what it
Swamp people.
was, but they
Probably swamp people.
had a great big snake in somebody's backyard in Florida, and I'm like, fuck that. I woke up and saw that in the morning. I'd be like crapping my pants, and
Well, you
I
know that
run for the fucking hills.
fucking Josh Gates, I think, has a one of his expedition shows, I think they went looking after the Titanoboa, or the legendary boa constrictors of the Florida Keys and stuff, or not Keys, but the Florida swamps and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I mean, it's not a thing of legend anymore. They found a snake skin. Some trackers actually in the swamp found a snake skin over 22 feet long.
Well, that's not too surprising. I mean, the biggest anaconda on record is like 30 something feet long.
Hmm.
And that was back a long time ago, because that's just from my knowledge of that reptile and amphibian house thing down there at Violet Zoo in Madison. And they got that display of the what do you call it, maybe ceramic or something, and stomach lights up and it shows like a boar inside of it, pig,
Yeah, it'd be
but
better.
they showed
It'd
it
be better
that
if they
it's like
showed a human
30
in there.
feet long, huh?
It'd look cooler if they put a mannequin in there.
Right. But that's because they have an anaconda, or they did. I don't know if they still do. It's been a long time since I've been to Violet Zoo, but they had an anaconda in there. I think it was a green anaconda. But that was a record back then. I mean, that record could have been broken by now. I mean,
Oh yeah,
those are the types of snakes where this is before all of the AI stuff started happening and got readily available to the public. They showed a video where an anaconda grabbed a pygmy fisherman off the boat and swallowed him alive.
yeah, I believe that.
And that have to be a pretty big fucking snake to do that.
Oh yeah,
You know, I mean, but that's the other thing. They say, oh, because we haven't seen the Tasmanian tiger in a long time, it's extinct. Well, one of those expeditions, they came back with proof that it's still alive and out there. May not be doing so well, but it's making a comeback slowly.
yeah.
You know, and I mean, those poachers and stuff, they're not going to tell you if they've seen anything, because they don't want you to even know that they're out wherever they're at, you know.
Yeah.
So who knows? It's like the dire wolf. There's all these sightings of a large wolf and so on, or wolf man like character, you know. Who's to say that somehow, where there's a will, there's a way. They adapt to survive. I mean, they have said, and I would believe it. I mean, you think about it today, you get a few packs of wolves and stuff like this, wolves mating with a coyote, or you know
Won't happen. Wolves and coyotes,
well,
they won't mate. They won't mate. They can't.
but you know what I'm saying is,
Those species can't reproduce together.
well, you never know. Science, Mother Nature finds a way. But it's like they said, a lot of these wolves, some of these larger wolves that they find, seem to have a little dire wolf, like they've crossbreed with the gray wolves over the thousands of years, because gray wolves were around back when dire wolves were around,
Mm-hmm.
and they said, oh, they still survived in a way. But what they're doing is very unpredictable and very dangerous. You know,
What
They
the
had two.
scientists are doing right now?
Yep, they had two males.
Mm-hmm.
They're adorable puppies. So, well, they're not
Oh no, I've
puppies
seen it.
anymore. You know, they show the puppies. They're like about the size of your hand still. Those that small. And it's like a dire wolf's howl for the first time. You know, that sounded more like crying, you know, than howling because you're holding this puppy and he don't want to be held.
Yep.
You know, wait till you put them outside outdoors and get them in enclosed, then record their howls. You know, at 2, 3, 4 months old, like the age they are right now. You know, about 4 or 5 months old. That's when their howls are going to be a pleasure to listen to. You know, and they got a female. They got two males that were born November last year, and a female that was born January of this year. So they've got three right now, and they're shooting for a full pack, from what I was reading.
Mm-hmm.
And then by what it was, it's like 3 years later down the road, 2028. Oh, we're gonna be bringing back the woolly mammoth,
So,
and I'm
woolly
like,
mammoth is okay.
how the hell are you gonna do that?
It's very simple. The Asian elephant is basically a direct descendant of the woolly mammoth.
But still, it's another unknown now.
Well, that's a little more easier to predict, though. Now, yeah, the woolly mammoth's going to be a little more aggressive because they're a larger species. Um, but they're also a food source that humans hunted a few 100,000 years ago.
Yeah, and then they got tusks just like the elephants of today,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll have poachers. So you have more. You know, you're just creating a whole new set of circumstances for them to make
Well,
money.
you are in a way, but
You know.
the whole thing is though, Joe. You know, it's going to be regulated,
Well,
or at
yeah.
least they're going to
I mean,
try to regulate it.
you know, yeah, because they only make so many at a
But
time. They'll be able to protect them.
they've already got preserved DNA. They have literal preserved woolly mammoth DNA
Yeah, I know.
because they found not just one but two already in different locations, but two baby woolly mammoth carcasses that were basically flash frozen, you know, and not they never got decomposed. They basically died from freezing to death
Yeah.
because they were flash frozen, and
And
they were able to get the DNA from those woolly mammoths.
right. I mean,
Now
they're
all they
already
got to do.
steps ahead with that one.
Well, see
They,
that one's the easier one to do because
I
of the
mean,
fact
what
that
they
they can
did with the dire
actually
wolf,
take
that took them a lot longer because of the
right.
research and so on
But
that was
with the
involved.
woolly mammoth, because it already has an actual ancestor that is a break off from the actual creature itself, they can take this and implant it in the
Well,
embryo
see,
or the egg of a Asian
that's why they're
elephant,
using,
and they'll be able to produce a woolly mammoth.
see, that's why they're also using the gray wolf stuff because gray wolves are the closest descendant to the dire wolf that's alive today.
That's what you say.
That's no, that's what this lab down in Texas said that brought those three pups alive. And then the other one I was reading that they were bringing back, and I always thought this creature was just a myth from the show, you know, like a fairy tale type creature from Bewitched, the dodo bird.
No, it's a real bird.
Yeah, well, yeah, I seen that. I saw that it was a real bird.
The dodo is an actual real bird, and it's kind of like the Tasmanian tiger. It was right around the same time frame. It's when it supposedly went extinct.
But the thing is, that's another one that could be living on one of these uninhabited islands somewheres and thriving, and they just
Well,
don't
yeah,
know it yet.
actually, the dodo bird was an island species bird, and damn it, I got crap in my keyboard. How'd that happen? This is a sealed keyboard, and there's crap starting to go down in between the keys. That's weird. Anyway, the dodo bird was actually a bird, a flightless bird. They couldn't fly,
Well, yeah, yeah.
and they were actually they were inhabited an island. That's I don't think it was a South Pacific island. I think it was closer to Madagascar or something like that. But they are an actual bird that did exist right around the same time and era that the Tasmanian tiger did. So they have pictures of them.
Yeah, I looked it up, and then I also found another bird that actually scares the hell out of me, and it's still alive today, and it's like related to the emu family. Another flightless bird, but it's got this big bone thing on its head and very colorful,
Mm,
and it
I
gets
know which one you're
very.
talking about. I just can't remember its name.
It starts with
But
like a C.
there's another one out there that would probably scare the shit out of you if you ever seen it in the wild. That's the harpy eagle.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's an ugly fucking thing and huge.
Yep, it's the same size of a person.
Yeah, I saw a picture. A guy was standing right next to one, and they
Uh
were
huh.
almost the exact same height. But to me, that almost looked more like an owl than an eagle in a way because of the way it was, you know. But still,
The
yeah,
harpy
that's a
eagle.
very scary bird as well. I mean, but that's also one that can fly.
The harpy eagle.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it might. Yeah.
But the that flightless bird with the thing on its head, apparently that thing you get too close to it and it charges you.
Uh-huh.
And it's got pretty long and sharp talons.
Yep.
I remember a movie about where they were somewheres and they you they ran into those birds and it's like, man, I don't think so. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think this whole experiment of what they're doing is a good idea.
No, it's not.
They're messing with nature.
Exactly. They're doing something that they
And
shouldn't
most of them aren't doing it for the scientific research. They say they are, but it's all about money, and the
do.
mighty dollar. Because they got to get funding, and then if they get the funding, my research will lead to me to being published in thousands of dollars. It goes on down the line, and bottom dollar is it's all about the money. Because they give a shit what effect it would have on the planet and the ecosystem. you know, uh, and they don't realize, some they think they know everything about an extinct species, right? And the thing is, how are they? Technology wasn't even around then. How the hell do they know everything? They're just speculating. It's just a bunch of theories. What if you bring something to life that's a lot more dangerous than, and got some kind of poison that you got no cure for? You know, it's bad news. I really think it's bad news. The puppies look adorable. I've seen pictures of the two male puppies. They remind me of Joy. They're when she was a puppy, all white and fluffy.
Is it a Robert? RHEA?
A what?
REA. RHEA.
What's that?
Well, that's another bird that's flightless and like an emu
Uh,
or
no,
ostrich.
this one started at like CASS or something. Very colorful looking. I had pictures of it because I was showing Tanya the other day,
All right. Give me a second here.
and I can't seem to find them again. Wait,
Cassowary.
yeah, right there, flightless bird. I was looking in the wrong browser.
It's a southern cassowary. Cassowary.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they've got a pompadour crown like a that looks like a um the ones that were on the oh damn it, the pterodactyls.
Yeah.
Um,
They're found in New Guinea and northeastern Australia.
mm-hmm. There's southern and northern, and then there's the dwarf. Oh, here's another one for you: the shoebill crane.
Yeah.
Now that one has been mistaken as a person standing in a field.
Really? What's it look like?
Mm-hmm.
You got a picture to show me?
Let me bring one up here. Oh, come on. Give me a bigger picture than that.
Oh, give me a bigger picture than that. But see, some of those flightless birds can run up to a good speed too, because that's how they avoid their prey.
Why is this thing? Okay, this thing's pissing me off. It's telling me I have to sign in to or not Facebook, but YouTube. And I've already signed into YouTube.
Using the same browser.
No, I'm using a different browser. Let me go over to my other browser. I'll fucking go in here and look it up.
Well, anyway, while we're waiting, I don't see anybody watching at the moment, but you know, what do people out there think of? Make a comment. Let us know what you think of scientists bringing back extinct species. Dangerous, not dangerous, unpredictable. They should or shouldn't do it. Is it all about the money or is it all about the research? Let us know what you think. Should they continue, and what's the next? They are continuing their research with the dire wolves, but with some of the problems in some of the farm areas of having just the local wolves as it is, do you think they should bring back the dire wolves? And what happens when they get the pack gets too big for them to handle? Are they gonna release these dire wolves back out into the population, in the wild somewhere? I mean,
Hang on a second.
you've already got reports of farmers wanting to hunt down the wolves, and they opened up hunting season here since I've been alive on wolves 3 times now because the population got out of
All right.
control, and a lot of farmers reporting wolves killing their cattle. You know, I've seen them put on the endangered list and taken off of it at least 3 or 4 times in my lifetime now. And that's another species that people get confused. It's the same creature with 2 different names, just depending on where you're from. So what is this? More of a video?
Yeah, it's a video that I found.
Holy shit! That's an ugly bird. Holy shit! That was a person kneeling
Yeah,
down next to one.
yeah.
Only, what did it say? 5,000?
Only 5,000 remaining.
No, see that's something that, yeah, if it was nighttime and standing like just on the
So I said those particular ones
like in
have
a
been
tree line area,
seen. They have been mistaken as a person standing out in a field because they're far enough out you can't really tell what they are. But they're also nicknamed the Dino Bird because they are a relic, basically a relic of dinosaurs, kind of like a crocodile or an alligator is.
or the sturgeon.
Well, yeah, the sturgeon or the coelacanth.
Yeah, I mean that's like, we think, the human race is pretty much so full of themselves sometimes that they think that they're right all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and and you know, oh, dinosaurs couldn't have survived this, but life finds a way. You know, you
Yep.
oh we the one trench that's the deepest place in the ocean.
Mariana Trench.
How do you know?
There's a spot in that trench that's called Challenger Deep, and that is supposed to be the absolute deepest spot of the ocean that they know of right now.
Right, there's the
They
key
don't know of
words
any other. They don't
that
know of
they
any other
know of
areas
right
that are
now.
deeper.
You know,
And man has finally figured a way of creating a submarine type system that they can go down to the bottom of there, and they can see it. And here's the sad part. Ready for the really, really, really sad part?
what's that?
When they actually got to the bottom of the Mariana Trench and they actually turned the lights on, and could see shit down there. What do you think they found?
Nothing.
No, they found stuff. And one of the things that they found that really sickens me and should sicken everybody is they found fucking human made plastic bags on
Oh,
the fucking floor of that ocean at that point.
yeah. Yeah, that's bad.
Mm-hmm. That is how bad us as a parasite on this planet has become.
No.
So, yes.
But see,
Sickening.
now was there? Remember that you saw that movie the Meg?
No, actually, I didn't even watch
You
it.
didn't see that
I
movie
didn't
with the
watch it,
Meg?
and I didn't watch the second one either.
Well, the
I don't know.
second
It just never gave me. It just never kind of appealed to me.
second one wasn't so good, but the first one I thought was really good.
Well, the second one I think had a better plot line because they broke through the barrier, which
Well, that's
allowed
it,
those
that barrier.
creatures to come up.
That barrier. You know, how do they know that something like that doesn't really exist?
Well, they're okay. I can see the concept behind that because there are parts of the ocean that have pockets of actual fresh water that is under the ocean water.
Right.
And they're rare, but they're there. And it's really strange.
But
It's a
but
phenomena
thing
that they haven't
is,
figured out yet.
thing is, in
It's kind of
these
like the phenomena of the two hemispheres where they meet in the ocean. One of them is like a clear blue, and the other one's a cloudy, brownish, muddy looking water, and they literally meet, and you can see the dividing line on it.
and see that's the whole thing. The whole thing about determining something's extinct. How the hell are we supposed to determine something's extinct if we've only explored a small percentage of the ocean?
Well, see, that's the thing. We have only explored a small percentage of the ocean. Okay, we have explored more of outer space, more of
Yeah,
the cold darkness of space outside of our atmosphere than we have in our own oceans.
you know. So
So,
now, how are they sure that the megalodon's extinct? I mean, they keep finding these
hey,
teeth, and some of these teeth aren't as old as the teeth they found before.
uh-huh, I know.
They're not. Some of them aren't even fossilized yet, or barely fossilized.
Well, there's now this is not part of the hoax thing that Discovery Channel put together. See, they did two of them. They did two of those things. One of them was about mermaids. Okay,
Yeah, it's a mockumentary.
it was a mockumentary about mermaids, and then they did another one, hunting the megalodon. That's actually on HBO right now still, and that one they did as a mockumentary as well. But they've actually got this Australian diver who documents great white sharks, and he's got film from a cage that he was in while documenting of a great white around 20 feet long, but it's not a great white.
Hmm.
They don't know what species it is. It's a shark. It looks like a great white. Its color's off. It doesn't have the same color. And it's got a protrusion on its dorsal fins. side dorsal fins. There's this little protrusion part that's not there on great whites. He's got this on camera, and there are experts that have seen it that are saying that to them, and the possibility is there, could be a juvenile megalodon or a juvenile of a species related to megalodon that we have not discovered yet. And there's just enough of them to be out there to reproduce, but not enough of them to actually be out there to be a nuisance or to start being discovered.
See, there was a female. There's a female that was recorded, and her name is Deep Blue, and she was estimated to be 20 feet long and weighing about 4,500 pounds. And she was spotted and filmed for Shark Week's Shaw's
Right.
Strike
Is
Back
she the one?
in
Is she the one they
2014.
tracked her tag doing an extreme dive?
Yeah,
That's her, and then she disappeared, and
yeah,
and the only thing they found of her was her tag a
right,
couple months later.
right.
Yeah, I remember that. And they can't figure out why that happened and how it happened because basically her movement from the depth she was at to the depth she ended up at, that movement was supposedly way too fast for a great white. So they don't know what happened. They don't know if there was actually a megalodon that got her, or if there was an actual
Yeah, and see now at this point,
maybe an Architeuthis.
here's the most recent thing. They tagged. They're saying a large one now. Uh, 13 feet 9 inches and weighing 1653 in 2025 January,
Mm-hmm.
and they tagged him, and that's a great white.
Yeah.
And they've been tracking him since then, and he's traveled more than 290 miles since. Well, that was recorded March 12th of 2025 since January.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they're still doing that kind of thing, but nobody's been bigger than Deep Blue yet.
No, the Deep Blue is the one that should be the largest one they ever found
Yeah,
and tagged.
she's anywhere
But
from
they have tagged
20,
them. They
21
have tagged
feet.
them. Right. They have tagged like 18, 19 footers. But yeah, Deep Blue
Yeah,
is
they
the one that,
average up to 20 feet.
yeah.
You know, and Megalodon was like almost double that size.
Megalodon was 60 plus
Right.
feet.
Or well, triple that size. Yeah.
Yeah. A
That's
Megalodon
why I was thinking 60,
was
but
60
double came
plus
out
feet.
instead of
Right.
triple.
So being
So considering a 20-footer weighs about 3,000, that's rounded up 4,000 pounds, right? And
mm-hmm,
then you multiply that to the megalodon. Jesus, that motherfucker is heavy.
mm-hmm.
You
Well,
know,
Megalodon's primary meals were basically whales.
whales.
That's they go after the whales.
Yeah, they could chop the largest whale right in half, bones and
Mm-hmm.
all. Boom.
I know.
You
Well,
know?
here's another thing for you.
And
You got us on the megalodons. Here's
what
another one for you.
was that other thing?
There was some of a fisherman. The son and his dad were out on a boat, and there was an actual blue whale that was on the beach, and it was missing its tail.
I was just coming up with that.
And they can't figure out where the tail went. They don't know how it became missing. and it looks, if you look, if you know, with
It
the
pushed
videos and
it
everything,
off,
it looked like it had been bitten in half.
bitten off, but it's hard to tell because of the
Because of the
decomposition. That was the
decomposition of the carcass.
carcass,
But
right?
the whole thing is,
I
it
saw
was
that.
speculated it was bitten off, and
You know,
it's kind of, it's kind of weird to see that kind of thing. But I mean,
you
you're
know,
looking at that going,
there, you know, a lot of times now since AI has really taken off, and it's sad because it's hard to determine
it
what's
is hard to
real
determine
and
what's real and what's fake.
what's not fake. But there was some footage that I used to. It was the extra footage. I found it on YouTube because it was. First saw it on a documentary I was watching,
Yeah.
and they were in search of the Kraken.
Well,
Okay.
the Kraken of mythology basically was an octopus. It was considered
Right.
an octopus. But the Kraken that they were probably looking for was probably more likely the Architeuthis,
Well, anyway, whatever they were looking
which is
for,
the Architeuthis is the um, gigantic squid. You know, the
right? But either way, that thing there is probably the scariest thing in the ocean. You know,
possibly it
as
does
far as
exist.
giant creatures are concerned.
Hmm.
All right, because you won't see them coming really, and they got so many, them arms, the tentacles, the suckers, the teeth on the suckers. You know,
They have a beak.
yeah,
The
they have a
the
beak.
the tentacles have actual, they're like teeth.
Yeah, they got teeth.
There are claws or whatever.
Yeah, little
They do dig in. There's
sharp
actually whales now. The
with sucker marks that
Right,
are
that have
totally cut
sucker
out.
marks on their bodies, and they have the puncture holes from the suckers,
Um,
from the teeth part.
but some of those whales, you would think that a squid or an octopus to attack a whale you've seen with those markings on it, that fucker
Hmm.
would have to be pretty fucking big
Yeah.
to attack a whale of that size. You know, I'm just saying, I think some of those creatures still exist, but over time they adapted because they had to.
Oh yeah. I mean, it
You
is
know,
a possibility that.
wasn't there? I mean, they assumed, what was it? A couple of times they've assumed, and there was a couple of whale species that they thought went extinct, and now they've got recorded thing that, oh yeah, it's still around.
Hmm. Ouch! My arm still hurts. My arm and shoulder.
Oh, I'm surprised we got nobody joining us yet. Oh
Yeah,
well,
they don't like us anymore. I probably pissed everybody off.
who knows? So, but anyway, it's a fascinating subject, and
Well, they're all fascinating subjects.
I just don't know about. That's why I don't like thinking about being on a boat in the ocean. You know, because it just be my luck that one of those so-called extinct creatures attacked the boat that I'm on. You know,
Yeah,
it'd be cool to be on land and see it. You know,
they see it happen.
no, yeah, that too. But to see the ocean. But I would never. Uh-uh, no, thank you. But I've been seeing it. What was that now too? We can go a different direction now, but I can't find my page. I've been seeing some cool shit. Let's go through. Let's just go through. This could be fun. Let's go through and review some of the posts I made in a group I made when we started all of this. Remember this?
Hang on. I gotta get back over to you. I was doing something. Oh, yeah.
Does that bring back memories?
Wow, that's DOS, ain't it? Or Windows 3, Windows 1? Or is that
Windows 3.1. There was never no
yeah, 3
Windows
point
or Windows because
yeah, it's like
before
3
Windows
or something
3.1,
like that. And
it went
then
MS
actually
DOS.
this looks a lot, but this looks a lot. Okay, the Windows the original Windows program, if that's what this is, it looks a lot like the fucking Apple Mac.
That's because Microsoft stole the
Yeah, they did.
their
They
idea
stole
for Microsoft Windows from Apple.
yeah.
But anyway, it was Windows 3.1. That was your first Windows program.
Uh-huh.
Windows 3.1. Then it was 3.11.
Uh-huh.
And then it was Windows 95. All right.
And I learned a long time ago how to bury a folder
And,
inside other folders to where it was hard to find them unless you knew what you were doing.
and this was released April 6th, 1992.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, and this looked a lot like the Apple operating system back then, too.
Yeah, it did. It does.
It
And
looked,
it still does. And
and,
that's what Apple actually still looks like.
and that's why it was
Is
so easy to kind of figure out how to use an Apple computer after using,
right after you got used to
oh, do you
Mac.
know what you're doing? I'll never forget somebody asking me that. I looked at to look at their Apple computer, and they're like looking at me like, "Do you know what you're doing?"
That wasn't Brian, was it?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Hey,
Those
actually, I
those
need to
guys
pee.
actually welcomed me in and showed me a lot of their
Joe,
tricks.
I need to pee real quick. Give me like 2 minutes.
Two
I'll be right
minutes,
back.
so I can make fun of you.
Talk amongst yourself.
But here we go. Who didn't have a photo cube when they were growing up? Back to the simpler days. And because this looked so much like Apple, because they stole it from Apple, Bill Gates was a crook back then. That it was easy to use once you learned how to use the old version of the operating system. It was easy to figure out the Apple version of it. There wasn't much differences. They just named things different. Is all they did. Let's see what else is on here. This is our retro review page. Who didn't have floor that looked like that in their school? Did you have floor that looked like that in your school?
You had enough that you have enough people in your head that you can talk to yourself very well without me.
Yeah. Did you have floor that looked like that in your school?
Yep. Yeah, we did.
Ours looked exactly like that in Oregon.
We it's like it felt like when you walk in there and seen it, it felt like they couldn't figure out which tiles to purchase for the floor, so they just purchased
Yeah, the board.
all the junk tiles they had left and fucking
Yeah,
threw them all together.
the school board couldn't make up their fucking mind, so they said, "Okay, we'll put one for
When
each board
since
member."
even since we've been in school, where is there a school board that's ever made up its mind?
Oh, there's not.
Even till now,
Oh no, there's not.
they can't decide on anything. And honestly, tell you honestly, half those motherfuckers shouldn't even be on the school boards
No,
because they're not worth being on the school boards. They're not worthy of being on the school boards because they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
no. Anyway, that had to have been the most popular Casio watch of the time from the 80s,
Possibly.
from the 70s and 80s.
I had that.
One.
I had one.
I had one that looked identical to
But
that.
you know what else I had? Nope. I had one that looked like that, but I also had another one. What's the other one I would have had?
Maybe it's on here. You just gotta keep scrolling, I guess.
Keep scrolling. No, there was another watch made by Casio that I had.
Oh,
What do you think it was?
I don't know. The calculator watch?
Yep.
Yep. Just
Yep.
like the nerd you are. You know, I remember these statues.
I remember
Not
these.
all of them,
We
but
had my brother used to always he'd go and get these.
there was
I
like
can't
one or
remember
two
what
in my
store he
grandma's
found them at.
house. You know, there was one or two at my grandma and grandpa's house. I remember them.
We had about a half a dozen of these fucking things.
And they all had different little sayings on them.
Yep. The electric company. And there's the man himself right in the center.
Yeah, Easy Rider. Or Easy Reader or whatever he was called.
That one. Yeah. There's the man himself.
Morgan Freeman.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't remember Oscar being on the electric company.
It was made by the same people that made Sesame
Well, I know it was Jim Henson production,
but why wouldn't he be?
I don't recall him being on there. Now, Dixie cups, yes, we had.
The Riddle cups.
I know these cups very well. They always had the little sayings on them.
The Riddles. They were riddled.
Yep.
And they had a dispenser in the bathroom.
Yep. And we'd oh yeah. Let's see. Starting here, I had it.
Wait, where are you starting? Here?
1985. Yep. Had it. Next one over to 86. Had it. Both 89s had them. The 91, that looks really different, but that's supposed to be the Super NES. I had that. The other 91, the handheld, that's the game.
Yeah, I didn't have any of those handhelds. I did have the original
I had
Game
that.
Boy.
Now the Virtual Boy I never had, but the Saturn I had, the N64 I had, and the Dreamcast I had. Every single unit on there, with the exception of the Virtual Boy, I had in my possession at one time.
Well, I didn't have the Virtual Boy, and I didn't have the, what is that, Sega Saturn?
No, it's a Sega Game Gear.
Game Gear, and then this is the Saturn.
That's the Saturn, and
so
then the Dreamcast.
I didn't have those three.
I had everything but the Virtual Boy.
But I did,
and I earned every penny that purchased them too.
I still have the Dreamcast though.
Every fucking penny that it took to buy those, I earned it myself.
Look how much those were brand new back then.
I know. That was a lot of fucking work.
Do you remember that? Do you remember?
I had a Game Genie too.
Yep,
I had a Game Genie.
You know, I hated that thing sometimes. Half the codes didn't work.
I had
when they did
Mario
work, they
2.
kind of fucked up
I had
the game.
Mega Man. I had the Super Mario 3. There's Didn't have the Dr. Mario.
I had the Super
I
Mario
think I
3.
had the Techno Bow Super Bowl there. But I got the Super Mario 3 with the unit when I bought it. And that other controller that they're showing there, I never had that. But I did have the bigger controller, the big square
Yeah,
one
yeah, the big square gray and the one that was
that
officially
matched the
licensed.
color of the
Yep.
the Nintendo.
But you know, that Game Genie was also made for the Sega too.
I know it was. I had it for the Sega as well.
There's what our computers looked
There's
like
your
back
old.
then.
That's the old before the 486. That's like the 386 or something like that.
Yeah, and the CTR
That's the
monitor.
massive brick and the CRT monitor. And there's your speakers. The speakers are right there underneath the monitor.
But you didn't have printers that looked like that back then.
No, that printer's new compared.
No,
And those speakers right there, that stand up speaker is new compared to that machine. That's running Windows 95. I could see probably upgrading to Windows 96 on that one.
yep. No, there was no 96. It went
I
from
thought there was.
no, it went from 95 straight to 98
Did it?
or
No,
XP.
no. XP came after 98.
Well, then it went straight from 95 to 98.
So yeah, you could have. I don't know. That system might have been able to handle running the 98. It might
But
be.
that computer has got to have upgraded USB ports in order to handle that printer.
Yeah.
Either that or so because they still had computers from that era still had
They didn't even have USB ports. They had the
serial ports.
yeah, they had serial ports.
There
Oh
you
wow.
go. There's a complete Nintendo setup.
Actually, the action set, that's the one I bought.
But I didn't have any of these. I had
the light gun.
I had the turbo controller that's down
I didn't have that.
bottom.
I didn't have that one down there. I didn't have the flight controller over here, and I didn't have this other joystick controller.
Yeah, I didn't have.
I had the unit with
these.
the two controllers here,
The
and
gun.
I had the light gun, and those came with the action set, and yeah, I had the Mario, and I did. Oh yes, definitely Zelda. I had the Zelda.
That bottom one, this one here that I'm pointing to, was a turbo controller. I remember.
Never had that one. Double Dragon, I had that game.
Here's a watch.
Never got one of those. I had Transformers.
I think my brother got one. I remember.
I never got me one of those watches, but I did have Transformers.
I mean, we had some pretty cool toys as a kid.
Dude, we had our toys and stuff. The things that were made for us were the bomb, man. Check it out. No, go back up. Go back up. Go back up. You see that? That is your fucking brick phone, man. Brick bag.
It's a Radio Shack computer.
No, it's a Radio Shack cell phone from 1984. Just $800.
Yeah, and you had to carry it around like a briefcase strapped on your shoulder. The rest of it.
Yep. Here, honey, take the portable phone. Anybody tries to carjack you, just hit them in the head with it.
And you notice when they start out, they were standing not too far from a payphone just in case you didn't have. You know.
I know. I had those too, by the way. I can't remember what they were actually called, but you stick the key in the back in it, and
Burning Key Cars by Kiddo.
Okay, you'd stick the key in the back, and it would click, and it loaded the spring that was in that.
Yeah, it would shoot them off. Yeah.
And then right here, you see on the top of the keys, you got that little slot thing, and you push. There's a button there. You push the button, and it would take you out.
You squeeze it,
and then there's the Night 2000,
Magnum PI's Ferrari,
And this is supposed to be
and then Burt
the
Burt
Burt.
Reynolds
Yeah,
Trans Am.
that color's completely off.
Yeah,
And that was the fire the rescue 911 or whatever that fucking
it
show
would have
was.
been emergency back
Yeah,
then.
emergency probably back then. Yeah, but I had those kind of cars.
Yeah, I
I
had
didn't
them
have
too,
those.
but I didn't have anything
I didn't have the
like
ones
this.
that had those. No, I didn't have the ones that had those. The
I had
Magnum or
this. I
Knight
had
Rider.
this one. This wasn't even the Burt Reynolds
That's
one.
no,
It was
that's
just
not the Burt
Turbo
Reynolds.
Trans
That was just the common one that they had.
I had the Trans Am, but mine wasn't this color either. Mine I think was red.
Now, if it was going to be the Burt Reynolds one, it'd be black.
Oh, there you go. I think that really exists too, and we need to go down by it and take pictures of it.
Dear Mr. Shermer High School, it does exist.
Dear Mr. Vernon, we accept the fact that we had to sacrifice a whole Saturday in detention for whatever it was we did wrong, but
We think you're crazy to make us
write an
write
essay
an essay
telling you who we think we are. You see us as you want to see us, in the simplest terms and the most convenient definitions. But what we found out
is that each of us
is a
is a
brain,
brain,
an
an
athlete,
athlete,
a
a
basket
case, a princess,
princess,
and a
and a
criminal.
criminal. Does that
Actually, I
answer
don't
the
think this
question?
is correct. I honestly don't
Sincerely
think this is
yours, the
correct.
Breakfast Club. No, that's correct.
I don't know. It feels shorter than the actual one.
This is actually,
You gonna shut it completely off, or you gonna take the?
yeah,
There you go.
that's what I was going to do. Oh, here we go.
Fast times at Ridgemont High.
Damone's 5-point plan. Never let on how much you like a girl.
Always call the shots.
Act like wherever you are, that's the place,
to be. Isn't this great?
Right? When ordering food, find out what she wants and then order for the both of you. It's a classy move.
When it comes to making out, whenever possible, on side
one of Led Zeppelin 4.
Zeppelin 4.
But see, he said in 3 though, he said act like we're, and he's like, said her name, Debbie. Isn't this great?
Yeah. Educational video introducing zip codes.
This was in 1967.
1967.
There's a can.
Whatchamacallit?
Did you ever have one?
Yes, and they were good.
Yeah, they were.
This had to have been the best Gen X candy bar of all time. Try to convince me otherwise.
Hey, it was a good.
I'm telling you right now, it was really good. It was.
Yeah, it was.
I remember it being a chocolate-covered, caramel-laced, Rice Krispie type freaking bar. I don't remember much more in it, but okay. It says right there with chocolate, peanut flavored crisps, and caramel.
Yeah, yeah. So it was kind of
basically a peanut butter coated Krispies with chocolate and caramel.
Right.
But yes. Oh my God, the TRS 80.
That was an old computer.
That is an old computer.
There's how they saved it. Not even floppy disk were invented.
Nope, cassette player.
Yep.
Because in each one of these boxes over here was a fucking cassette that went in there to fucking run it.
Yeah, because you had to get special cassettes. You couldn't buy just any of them off the store.
You couldn't get them off the store and do it yourself. Nope. And then I also remember the VIC-20 that I actually got, my very first computer. That VIC-20 had a booklet that came with it that taught me binary.
Mm.
My brother got one of those actually, and we sat the very first R-rated movie I got to see was because of my brother.
Yeah.
And we watched it on satellite dish. It wasn't one of these. It was satellite dish. He had a
Oh,
satellite dish. Want to know what movie it was?
no.
It's a very well known movie, and there is a quote from it that is well known today that everybody still uses.
Oh, yeah. What's the movie?
Well, you want to find out? Get her up there. Get her up there, and you'll find out why.
Oh, Porky's. Lassie.
Porky's is the very first R-rated movie I ever seen. I think I was like 13 years old.
You know, I think there was
I had one of
something.
those. Oh, go back. I had one of those.
Yeah, I did too. Remember in order pizza that way?
Yep.
And there was a lot of pizza places back then that would
Yep.
deliver. Now, not so much.
Caller ID. And then the yep.
Those are all from the 70s.
Yep.
And that's from the 67 TV show. The Riddler and the Batman and the Robin, the Joker. All of them are from that Adam West, Burt Ward TV show.
Yep.
There it is.
There it is. Woo.
And right there is
There's Lassie.
just before he gets her up there. This is true because he's telling her, yeah, you get her up there. Yeah.
Just get her up there. You'll find out.
Oh, here you go.
A horse is a
Mr.
horse,
Ed.
a horse, of course.
A horse is a horse, of course, and no one can talk to a horse, of course. That is, of course, unless the horse is the same as Mr. Ed. Go right to the source and ask the horse, he'll give you the answer.
You know, that was one of those catchy
Now, here,
themes that,
hey, hang on. Do you know? Okay? I'm gonna throw a quiz at you. Okay, I'm gonna throw a little question at you. Do you know which movie from the 80s? I believe it was an 80s or it could have been a 90s movie, but might have been late 80s, early 90s. But this movie had stars that weren't quite stars yet. They were still kid stars around our age, kind of. Okay, that had a sequence in there of that song.
no, what movie?
You don't remember?
No, I don't. And I probably
River Phoenix was in it.
yeah, well that doesn't tell me much.
Have you ever seen The Explorers?
Nope, that's why.
You've never seen The Explorers?
Nope,
What kind of fucking kid were you?
I don't know.
Oh my god, I can't believe you've never seen The
One that
Explorers.
didn't watch a lot of movies.
I had one of those too, by the way.
The Green Machine, the original.
That's the original Green Machine. I had one of those.
Yep. Just a cooler version of the big wheel.
Hmm.
More fun
No.
too.
I don't know if it was actually cooler. Had a big wheel as well. Big Jim.
Yep, with a kung fu grip.
Yeah, he needed that kung fu grip. Carnival mirrors. I had basically a wall made of those. I had the Joan Jett. I
I
the
only have
Zeppelin.
one.
I
only
had
have one
that
set.
Van Halen. I had the Zeppelin. I had the Bon Jovi, the Joan Jett down there. I think I had the Kiss one.
I had a different Kiss one.
I
I had Journey.
trying to
And
remember which other ones I
Led
had.
I had that Led Zeppelin.
Oh, the
with
Guns
Van
N'
Halen.
Roses. I had GNR. I had the GNR.
I had the Van
But yeah,
Halen one, but it was
and I won
bigger.
every single one of them at the fair playing the darts.
Well, it was the easy way to get
Mhm.
anything.
Yeah, I'm going back to the 80s. Want anything? Yeah, I want my fucking Radio Shack back.
Now I remember having this action.
I
This
did not have one of those.
I
And I
had this
would not
alarm
have.
clock, and I think Dwayne had a different one, but they had several that were out at
Hmm.
the. They had several of these type of alarm clocks out at this era. I don't remember what Dwayne's was, but it was like you had Burt Ward and Adam West's voice in there
Mm-hmm.
telling you to get up. Talk
Get
them
up,
talking
trooper. It's time to go
about.
to work. Time to go to school. You need to learn.
But they talked more about the, like they did. Golly gee, Batman, you think,
Oh yeah, like Holy
like
Rusted Metal, Batman.
the old 60s from the 60s, the
Yeah,
Adam West, Burt Ward.
Holy Rusted Metal, Batman. The ground, it's metal. It's full of holes. It's rusted.
I had one of those.
I did not have one of those.
When I was a
Command
kid,
communication console. No, I did not have a command communication
but
console.
it got broke. Dwayne and I fought like cats and dogs sometime.
No, we used to have those too.
I had this one for sure. I
The
remember
fishing
that
one.
No, it was this one, the car,
The car. Yeah, the racing one, the race
or
cars.
the magnet.
Yeah, it went around in circles, and you had to do the thing. Yep.
I remember this.
We had one that was your home brewing thing. You could actually brew your own stuff in there. My brother had one of those. My brother actually had one of those. And you dump stuff in it, and it would ferment it, and then you make your own shit. Yeah.
There you go.
Sizzlers, world's fastest electric cars.
Hey, those things were fucking cool as hell.
Juice machine, high performance race fuel.
The only thing you didn't do is do the same thing you did to a 9-volt battery to the tip of that.
Yeah, you can stick your tongue to it.
But when you got them things full and you let them go on a Hot Wheels track like that, man, they'd whip around
I know.
that thing like
They-
fast as hell, and I don't know how many laps, but man, they used to run the laps for a while, for a good minute or two.
Mm-hmm.
Those were like the coolest toys.
Mm-hmm.
I had that the juice machine, as they call it, and I had like 3 or 4 of the cars. Oh yeah, this only comes up one picture, but look at
The
that.
Jaws game.
Yeah,
You can
this
move
is
through
the
it.
50th
You can move through it.
anniversary. This is 50th anniversary edition, but I remember when it was brand new back in the late 70s.
Yeah, you had to get everything off there before his jaws closed on you, before he snapped shut. Eat ya.
Oh,
There's your riddle cups.
cups again.
Now I remember that thing. I never had one.
I didn't have one until later in life.
It was a programmable battle
big tracks,
thing.
yeah,
big tracks programmable. You could
and
you type in your numbers and stuff like that,
yeah,
and it would actually go and then turn and then go and then
right,
do
and
a
that
complete
trailer,
180. Yeah,
the trailer would hook up to it, and you
Mhm.
could program it so that it would dump whatever is in the trailer because it plugged in just like it had a plug on it, just like
and it ran off
headset
of a
does.
9-volt, which ran down pretty quick if I remember right.
But I had one when I lived not here. I think before Tiny. I found one at a garage sale. And then something happened to it. I think it was because I was at my brother's and something happened to it because of, living conditions.
Yeah. Ah, that's Speed Buggy.
Nope,
No,
that's Wonderbug.
Wonderbug. That's right. That's the Wonderbug.
1976
Speed Buggy
Wonderbug from
was
the hit TV series,
Speed Buggy was
a
a cartoon.
cartoon.
Yeah, but if I remember right, that sits on a Volkswagen frame.
I don't know,
I
but
think that's a Volkswagen frame that
I thought
they
that
got
thing
that
was
sitting
cool as hell back then.
on. Smoking monkey.
I remember those too.
Uh,
You put the little cigarette in the monkey's mouth and you light it and
mm-hmm. Blow smoke rings, all kind of shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had one of those. They were like really cheap back then, like
Oh,
10 cents.
I seen what's coming up. I remember those things. Had a bunch of them. And yeah,
Actually, this in the center, that was actually Gold Rush gum.
uh-huh. I know. But that was also
They're
you
the
had to
wacky
find
packages.
it's from the Wacky Packer.
And you had those were on the back.
Those you had to find the stickers that would make that.
Yep.
And all those are stickers.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure if that's the original packaging or not. I don't think it is. I think those are like newer ones because I
Could
don't
be.
think the packaging was this color. I think they were blue when we were younger.
I don't remember.
But
But
I remember
I
I
do
remember a
remember
lot
these
of these.
things. Yep, I do remember them.
Blunder bread.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's this one? You ever watch that?
I
1972.
remember it, but I don't think I ever really watched it. Sounds of the Weirdos. I do not remember that thing, and I never had one.
I didn't have it either, but I do remember it because they sold around here quite a bit,
That was
especially
that's
at the Pizza Hut.
basically a Pizza Hut branded
Yeah, it was like a
Easy
little
Bake
bake.
Oven.
Yeah, easy bake oven. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a Pizza Hut branded Easy Bake. Ah, Ricky Tiki Tavi.
yeah,
I remember that.
yep. That is one of the coolest cartoons I ever watched. That and the Jungle Book, the original.
Uh-huh.
They were out about the same time. Oh, there's more of the wacky packages.
Yep. More on
Hey,
salt. That's
jerks.
what we got up there right now.
Huh?
More on salt and cram. Land of
Plastered
Quakes.
peanuts.
Cracked animals.
Gadzuka.
Mm-hmm.
Jello.
A
I remember
Volkswagen
seeing that when
bus.
I was a kid. I saw it in the
The
store. Never had it.
Batmobile Volkswagen bus.
Yeah, but I remember seeing that in the stores.
It's a mobile bat lab,
Yeah.
1488. Oh, I remember those.
Comes the Hall of
I don't
Power
remember if I had one, but I do
now.
remember those
When you pull
things.
that T-stick, those SSP racers howl with power.
I might have had one, actually.
Boy, now our whole screen looks really retro with that old TV set.
I know.
Isn't that cool?
Super Me.
I had Dwayne and I did exactly what they're doing in those. We
Hey,
built
build
little
your ramp.
ramps,
Build your ramp.
and
Just let them go.
and those things would fly over those ramps.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Oh,
like,
that's a Hot Wheels.
a roach cart.
But it's a Hot Wheels. That's an actual
Ed,
design from a Hot
Ed
Wheels.
1978 Ed Newton roach coach. Custom showed him. Yeah, a hot rod with bubbles.
So I don't know if
Doesn't
he
say
made this
anything in that
before
description.
or no. I remember Hot Wheels making that. I don't know if Newton made this first and then Hot Wheels
They might
marketed
have,
it for him,
because it
or
doesn't
if
say
he
anything
modeled
about
it
they were
after a
made.
Hot Wheels.
I think it was the Hot Wheel
I
was based on the
remember
car,
Hot Wheels. I remember Hot Wheels making that.
because it says nothing about Hot Wheels in here. You only
You
get two.
two. Well, I'm telling you right now, the ones
So
I would pick are on the are number 10 and number 4.
9 and 10.
Nope, 10 and 4. I loved Metroid. And Zelda, you cannot beat Zelda.
See, but I'm just the one that, I didn't care for Metroid, probably because I wasn't really good at it or something.
Oh man, I kicked that thing.
Super Bowl,
I whipped Metroid.
Super Bowl. That's where I started playing the football before Madden games,
The Tecmo Super Bowl.
and I knew a lot of
And
the
the
ways
moves on
to
Punch
beat the
Out and
guy on
how to
Punch Out.
yep. Yep. I got in
But
the Punch
if
Out
I could
video
only
game,
have
the
two,
arcade game
it'd
on Punch Out.
definitely
I was
be
good at that.
Zelda and Mario 3.
Zelda and Metroid for me, man. I liked Mario. I liked the Mario game,
I had Mario
but
3. I had the
but
Japanese version.
yeah.
It was 2 cartridges. Do you know what this is?
You'll know what this is. I'm this old.
Do you know what it is? It's a cork for your ass.
It's not a cork for your ass.
Yeah, it is.
You're not supposed to use it that way. Put it on a bottle.
Maybe it's a way you can put it in somebody's
It's to
mouth and
recork.
shut them up.
Yeah.
So you can shut up all the stupid people.
That's what a ball gag's for.
Well, that's an early ball gag.
No.
No, that's a bottle stopper
I know.
for a pop bottle. Keep the bottle the for it only worked on your glass bottles.
I know. You use it on champagne bottles too.
Right. But I'm just saying that's what it was. We
I
had a
know.
lot of those back in the when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But that's I remember there was a TV game show, and they'd bring something out that they would say look like this. They'd bring it out and they'd have a panel of 3 celebrities or 4 celebrities, and they'd say,
Name this item.
"Yeah, what is this?" And 3 of them would tell a lie, and 1 would be telling the truth, and the people
And then you'd have to
playing the game,
figure out who's telling the truth.
right? You'd have to say,
Would that be the show To Tell the Truth?
I don't know, maybe it was.
I thought that one was that there was 3 people.
Oh no, that to tell the truth, that was one that they were saying they were working at this, and you got to figure out if they were telling the truth or lying.
Mm-hmm.
But there was the game show based on an item, and only one person.
Yes, Abagnale.
Anyway, That's what kind of reminded me to do with that. I remember the
Yeah.
not a very good, but I
I remember
remember
those
those.
too, but
They were kind of stupid and cheap
yeah.
because they'd break real easy.
There's
Oh, there you
your
go.
Shakey's Pizza.
Oh yeah, but this wasn't any ordinary pizza. This was an ad for Shakey's Pizza.
That's what I said. There's your Shakey's Pizza.
I haven't never
You
tasted
don't listen,
anything.
do you?
I haven't tasted anything like it since then. Did you ever have Shakey's Pizza?
Yes, I've had Shakey's.
Oh. And it's because, and you know what it is? It's the crust. It's always about the crust
Well, then you
when
haven't
it comes to
tasted Me and
pizza.
Ed's Pizza because Me and Ed's Pizza tasted almost exactly like it.
Well, then
Me
they'd
and
have
Ed's
when they cook it.
is out in California area.
When they cook it, they gotta have cornmeal on the thing
Yep, Me and Ed's does too. And they use yeast in their dough. And you can smell it when you walk into the fucking joint.
because that's what it was. Was they put cornmeal on
When they
the
would roll it out,
breadboard
they'd
so it
put
would roll.
cornmeal down and then put it in the oven.
Yeah, and it also roll. Yeah, they'd roll it off
Mm-hmm.
the wooden boards. All right, what else we got?
I don't know. You're at the end of this.
No,
There's your snakes.
this was at the back of comic books.
Sometimes it was in the middle of the comic books.
Yeah,
It wasn't always at the back.
I had that gun. Or Dwayne.
Battlestar Galactica. And that does not look like any of the fucking guns that they had.
No, but that's the toy that they had back then.
Mm-hmm. I know.
And the little dial there, it did different things and made different noises.
So did the tip of that really shake?
Yeah,
Well, I bet a lot of moms had fun with that thing.
I remember that thing too.
You didn't even catch what I
Yeah,
just
I
said,
caught
did
that.
you?
Battery industry was doing real well back then.
That was the cheaper version.
Kept Railvac in business. You don't see many Railvac places anymore because everything doesn't need it. It's all rechargeable now.
Yep.
Bubble gum in a dish. I remember the candy.
Yep, Mr. Bones. Look, it's advertising you.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? When I
It
was
even says Larry on there. Look.
you're funny. But my mom,
Larry Harmon's TV official bozo. Fork and spoon.
my mom kept this set, and it was always in the kitchen drawer. She kept this set, and it was used for Dwayne and I when we were little. Bullet Man.
Man.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that John Cena character in what is that movie?
That was the other Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that Suicide Squad.
Second one.
It looks like John Cena's.
It wasn't the Suicide Squad. The first one was the Suicide Squad. Second one was just Suicide Squad. No, I did not have the Star Trek game thing.
I had these.
I had those. I had two of those. Actually,
I had more than one of those in my lifetime.
I had two of them. I had the smaller and the bigger one.
Actually, I didn't have any of this, but when I was a kid, they had the plastic models so that you could build make your own communicator and phaser. And what was the other thing that the tricorder? They don't show that here though.
No, tricorder isn't there.
But they had the tricorder, the phaser, and the communicator as a model kit. And this thing is, they got it like flying. It was more of a helicopter.
I know.
I had the one that had the helicopter on it, so it wasn't even the Star Trek based one.
Right. The one I had was a helicopter.
Yeah. Let's see. There's
There's
C3PO,
Ultraman, Iron Man,
Evel
C-3PO,
Knievel,
R2-D2.
the Fonz, John Wayne,
It's one
the
of the
$6
Kiss
million
guys back there.
dildo, Boba Fett,
That's a G.I. Joe next to
John Wayne,
CP3O there.
and John Wayne.
Yeah, and John Wayne.
And then you have, what was her name? Annie Oakley, maybe? And that's another G.I. Joe, because he's got
Where are you seeing Annie Oakley?
Well, whatever, some female.
Oh.
And then this
That's another G.I. Joe.
Because it's got it's one with the fuzzy
He's got the
hair.
Kung Fu grip.
This wasn't. Then you have one of the Kiss members. Guy from I think that's Alien.
Maybe.
Oh, this is Ultraman, isn't it?
That's Ultraman and Iron Man next to him there. Look, more toys.
Yeah, but here they got Evel Knievel's bike. Pretty much the same dolls almost.
There's another one of the Jaws.
Yeah, one. But this one's actually from the 1970s.
It's got a bigger mouth.
Yeah, this isn't the 50th anniversary edition.
Mm-mm.
I think these were slot cars for those tracks or something.
Yeah, I think so. The AFX ones.
I seen one of those in my neighborhood.
Sand Blaster.
When I was growing up.
Yeah, I know that one.
Tabby again.
Go.
I think Dwayne.
Man of 1,000 faces.
I think Dwayne got that as a birthday present one year.
Okay.
And still not the models.
Communicators.
Their noses would light up.
Mm-hmm.
They were like pins. My mom had one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember this too, because we had it when we were a kid. Yeah, I even said that in the comment. It
Chirping bird ornament.
Yeah. It would like do the jingle bells and the common stuff.
Oh, those are magnets.
Mm-hmm.
Remember those? We had a bunch of those laying around.
Yeah, but you know where those specific magnets came from?
It's got to be one of the cartoons.
No.
Oh, it says right there, you got them in boxes of cereals.
Yeah, which cereal?
I don't remember which ones. I'm like them. I don't remember.
Freakies. Freaky cereals.
Freaky cereals. Okay. Where?
And they were called Freakies. And their commercials were like a cartoon. And the cereal was really, really good. It kind of looked like...
very sugary.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, but they looked like Cheerios. But they were really sugary and more like...
Apple Jacks. Like the Apple Jacks were. Apple Jacks looked like Cheerios, but they were fucking sugary as hell.
Or yeah, but they tasted more along the lines of like the regular Captain Crunch. There's a close up
There's the game,
of the
Genie.
Game Genie.
More of
More
those
of the
stickers.
wacky packs.
That.
Whoops. I wanted to enlarge the picture. Damn it.
Oh, now you lost.
Well, it fucking, I didn't want to click the picture
You
and go to a
lost
site.
it. You lost it. You broke it, man.
You
You
broke
broke
it.
it.
You broke it. Who is that?
You broke it, man.
Wasn't that Ren and Stimpy or something
I don't think it was.
that came from? You broke it. You broke it. Boy, this is taking forever.
Well, if you wouldn't have fucked it up, man.
You have fucked it up, man.
Man, if you weren't so stoned, you'd be able to do this, man.
Well, I went and clicked on the picture and I didn't expect to go to a website. All right, there it is.
Don't click on it. Don't click
I'm
on it.
not going to click on it. But I always try to figure out and explain.
That's from some Japanese.
But it was
making
on
machine thing,
it
cartoon.
used to be on TV here in America because I used to watch that one because
I don't
remember
recall
this.
that one.
I remember.
I remember
this guy.
Ultraman. We've
No.
watched Ultraman before.
I remember
have.
this guy, and I remember this one.
There's Ultraman. Hey, is that part of Ultraman then?
Yeah, it could
It
have
has
been.
to be. It has to be because those are the same characters.
Yeah, it probably was.
Banana Splits.
Yeah, with the Foreigner album cover.
In the great hall of the Justice League.
Oh, I see what it's doing. Going through the 80s. Conjunction Junction. What's your function? Oh, that one's going
And
so
Be Your
bad.
Neighbor.
I remember these magazines.
Dynamite.
Yeah, but the magazine. See, it's a magazine.
JJ in a movie. Dynamite.
The Vernon
Vernon
Shirley.
Shirley and King Kong.
Yeah, I remember those magazines.
Gary Coleman. There's your Ultraman. Wacky Faces.
Finger puppets. But yeah.
Finger Poppers.
Yeah, well, you put your fingers
Yes,
in
I
there.
remember that. Now, the next one I do remember.
I don't know if anybody would know what to
It's
do
time
and
to
how
pick
to
me up.
operate those. You have a
It's time to
click
pick me up
call
from the
from
roller
It's
rink.
Time to pick me up from the roller rink or
From
the
the
skating
rink.
rink. Yeah, I did that a lot too. Oh, I
Yeah.
did this one.
Our homeroom had a whole shit
bunch
ton
of them.
pencils in the ceiling. And our teacher, our homeroom teacher, it was the same room. We had homeroom in the same room we had math in. And on Mondays, every time you walk in on Mondays, somebody would walk in, they'd have a pencil in their hand, and they do this. Pencil in your hand, and they do like this. Just to see if they can get it to stick. And if it stuck, it stayed there until Friday. And then over the weekend, the janitor would pull them all down. And then on Mondays again, the whole cycle would start again. And the teacher would never climb up on a ladder or anything to take them down. He'd just fucking leave them up there.
No, it's too much of a pain in the ass because you'd be doing it all day. I mean,
it was
pretty much the same thing in my school.
It was almost everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Walk in the door.
It was just too
like
easy
that with it, and it would fucking pencil would stick. Sometimes it wouldn't stick. A lot of times it would. There's Thunderbolt. Driver's ed.
Yeah, they don't do driver's ed like that anymore.
That's why we have so much fucking problems with these idiots on the road.
But when I was taking driver's ed, they had like 3 or 4 of these in our classroom.
Yeah, and what was your percentage that you had to pass?
I don't remember.
You had to get a 90 or better.
Time for timer.
Anchor for a hunk of cheese.
Jeez. Or what about taking the thing and putting Kool-Aid in and then saran wrap with Q-tips, or not Q-tips, toothpicks, and putting it in the freezer?
But no, you would put Kool-Aid in
And
the
then ice tray.
in the ice tray, put saran wrap over it, and then you take toothpicks and you stick them through the saran wrap,
That's what I said.
and then you put it in the freezer and let it freeze, and you have a popsicle. Oh, look, Andy's here. You missed it.
Yeah.
That was
thanks to Aquanet.
yep.
Hairspray.
That I tell you right now, that had to be a full can of Aquanet. Eddie and the Cruisers. Look, it's Bozo again. Burger King.
Yeah, but it's cardboard.
I know. Roach clips.
Yeah, but a lot of girls.
Why were they actually called roach clips?
Well,
You should know this.
You see, you attach a roach to it so that it would stop running around on your floor.
And we used to get those at the fair too, by the way.
Yep.
And here's the thing. When those first came out, every time the cops, if they stopped you and you had a roach clip, and we had them hanging from the mirrors. If you had roach clip hanging from your mirrors, the cops would fucking automatically make you test for drugs.
Oh yeah.
Automatically.
Oh yeah.
And it's
why wouldn't they?
It's like, why? You know, not everybody that collects roach clips was smoking dope. Not everybody was smoking marijuana and getting high. We weren't always doing that.
You know, whoops. It was like this. You know, when I was
The
much
cops
younger,
were mostly just assholes. That's
when
what
I
it all
was
came down
when
to.
I was much younger, we had a lot of carnivals in the Madison area. You had like the East Side Businessman, you had Dane County Junior Fair, and then you had, you know, the ones that would come to the mall parking lots, or the little
Mhm.
just small, you know, like Fitchburg or Oregon, you know. So anyway, back then, a lot of things that were easy to get from the games on the Midway were the roach clip feathers and the carnival mirrors. And some of us would just go around collecting both. You know, I was collecting those feathers long before I was smoking pot. You know, and
Yeah, and
that's
I was
because I
collecting those
thought they
feathers
were
all
cool
the time.
as hell. You know, and I don't think I ever used one on a roach unless it was like broken in the feathers, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because I liked the way they looked. I had a whole, you know, they were like hanging in the wall in my bedroom, right next to the mirrors, you know. Now I got one carnival mirror left, and that one I bought at a garage sale or one of those like secondhand marketplaces, you know, because it's a Dale Earnhardt one. You know, from one of his championship wins, Daytona.
Yeah.
No, and it's not even a very big one. You did little bitty small one with a cardboard frame. You know, I remember though when you go to the carnival, you had like what was it, 3 or 4 different sizes. You had the small ones, the medium ones, and then you had the bigger ones with the wooden frames already. I had one of those that I won. It was a Journey one. Easiest money to spend at a carnival. Everything else, I mean, even those games are rigged to an extent. You know, the balloons aren't totally inflated, so if you hit them, the darts aren't totally sharpened. So you really got to stick that, you know, and some of those darts are weighted so that it throws them off when you throw them.
Yeah, they are.
You know,
I
and
got
then
good. I got good with the carnival darts. That's why I was so good with fucking regular darts.
the oh, what was the other one? Uh, Popping the balloon was for the mirrors. It was also probably for the
And
puzzles
popping the
too.
balloon was also for the roach clips. You could
Right,
get the roach clips there too.
right.
And then later on, they started getting the larger mirrors,
Yeah.
and they were they would get the larger mirrors, and they were um,
It's like
where you could trade in.
right. Yeah, they get like trade in 3 or 4 medium, and then so many small or so many small.
Well, there was only one size of mirrors. You trade in like five of the mirrors, and you can get one large
Yeah.
or
Anyway,
larger mirror.
but all those games are rigged somehow. All
They
of them,
are.
anyway.
I know this because I worked the fair. I,
And
I
if
worked
you
the
knew
state fair
how they
for an entire
operated,
summer.
how they did
Dude,
that.
okay. Our state fairs are, well, I worked the fair circuit, and it was for an entire summer with a friend of mine and his dad. His dad was a carny, and he would help his dad during the summertime when we were out of school. So
Yeah, it's good money.
we had like 3.5 months that we were doing this with him, and we would run the whole, the whole 3.5 months. We run with them all summer long, and I wound up making over $50,000 just in that 3 months running fucking carnival. And I knew that, and I know how a lot of those were rigged
Hmm.
because, for one, I had to test them out and make sure that they were rigged properly. So that, but yeah, that for that 3.5 months that I ran with him and his dad, I made like 50 grand because you got a percentage. You got assigned to one of the booths, and you got a percentage of the take for that booth at the end of the run for that time that we were there. So you'd get a percentage of earnings from whatever the booth earned you. So the more you could bring in, the higher you would make. Did I lose you?
No, I was reading something.
No. So yeah, I mean, and again, I know how all that fucking ran. I know how it played. So
And it looks like
that's what made me good. That's what made me good at the fucking carnival games, like the bowling, the bowling ball one where you rolled
yeah.
it. I got to where I knew exactly how hard to push it, and it would go up and just barely catch the peak, and then just drop over, and I'd win. I actually got asked to not come back
Uh,
because I won so much
well,
every time.
till next time, we're out of time. It's
Okay, we're out
o'clock.
of time.
Till next time. Hopefully, we'll have more guests. I don't know what's going on. I think we pissed people off. They don't want to watch or come in anymore.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Anyway,
I must have pissed somebody off.
till next time, stay safe. Remember, anything's possible. Bye.
Later, bud. Later, dudes. Punks.
Dude.